Alrighty, welcome back to the party. We are on our last video here in the bulk negating and bulk campaign creation module. So this is the keyword harvester tool. This is a brand new tool hot off the press. So let's get into it. The very first thing you're going to want to do is go to the settings tab and just toggle on the sources that you want to use. By default, the search term reports will be on there. If you have imported your supplemental data for search query performance, brain analytics, you may see additional sources here as well. You can toggle those on. Definitely consult the guide around this section. Under the keyword harvester section, we'll be adding additional sources and kind of putting the details in there. They may not be covered in this training, but the process is the same. So yeah, I'm going to be using these in this demo video. So before we use this tool, there is a bit of onboarding to get all of the products that we're potentially going to want to harvest onto the dashboard. All right, so this state that I'm in right now is I've synced my bulk file, and that gives me this reference list down here of all my products. And I've also added the supporting supplemental reports, which you see here, that will be used to kind of rank and analyze our keywords that we're going to want to potentially harvest. All right, so that's where I'm at right now. To get your rules onboarded quickly, you could obviously go through and manually add them, but there's a much faster way here using this add all products button. Before we use it though, we have to go and work in the product center here just a second. So I'm going to copy all of my products. You can either copy all of them or just the ones you're going to want to work with initially. And I'm just going to Control-Shift-V, paste those here. Now you'll see in this demo file, I've got a lot of like demo FBM products where I've got different SKUs, but the same ASIN. For this tool, you're going to have to identify kind of a priority SKU to target. So in most cases, that's going to be your FBA SKU. So for the sake of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and just remove any of these that have a color. So I'm just going to see if it'll let me sort that. Why did that not work? Let's try one more time. All right, there we go. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And you can resort that like that. All right, so here's my short list of SKUs along with their ASINs. And then this new drop down here is a way you can assign the rule actions kind of in bulk that you want for every product. So probably the easiest when you first get started is just do all of them for your main products like I have here. We will be adding sponsored brands and display very soon, but they're not quite in the version I'm using here. So stay tuned for that. But the process will be the exact same as far as what I'm going over in this video. All right, so once you've got that set up, you're pretty good. Just go over now to this dashboard and click on this button. This will add a kind of grid of all our rules here. You can see 70 rules were added. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this upper row because that was our template. And then you can tweak any of these parameters here, but this is just an initial template to kind of get started with. Similarly to autopilot, you've got some yellow thresholds, and the ones I'm looking at right now apply to all of the sources. The brain analytics is kind of the only exception. We're going to pull in all of the brain analytics keywords if your ASIN is in the top 3, so you don't really have to worry about those. But the other sources like your search term reports and search query performance, you know, this orders column applies, as well as these others actually all apply for search query performance. The white ones here are the only ones that only apply for your search term reports because those are PPC based metrics. But anyway, the idea is you can set up pretty custom thresholds regarding the harvesting that you're going to want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the default template here, which is anything over 1 order. And I'm just going to run it. So we'll just start out with this and you'll kind of see how the process works. So you'll run the harvester here. I'll hit yes. Then after about a minute or so, depending on how much data you have, you'll get this prompt. Just hit OK. And then you can make sure you're at the top there. One thing I like to do is go ahead and hit this sort filter button right there. That's going to sort everything by orders. and it's going to filter out any of the keywords where you're already targeting those. So you've got a column there if you at a glance want to see all of the ones you are targeting, but I'm showing only for keywords now that I'm not, and it's sorted by order. So these are kind of my top opportunities here towards the top. Now you theoretically could click this button and select everything. That's going to give you, that's going to populate your dashboard with literally every target, but for most sellers that's probably not going to be super helpful because you've got some economics to kind of keep in check. So you're going to want to strategically pick certain keywords and kind of launch them, maybe every week or something. So anyway, you can come in here, you can use these supplemental sections. So this is the aggregated PPC performance that we saw in the search term report video that we did here a few videos ago. You've got impression share, top of search impression share if you import your target report. So that's pretty powerful info. Search query performance. So that's all your search query performance data. And then you've got brand analytics as well. You've got a color. It'll show up as a color if it's your product, and then it's a competitor if it's not colored. So yeah, the idea is you can check these boxes now, and you've also got your campaign details there. So you can check these boxes though on the keywords and the match types that you want to actually harvest. So I'm just going to grab some examples here. Let's just get, let's see, do I have some ASINs? Yeah, there's one ASIN. So let's do those. And like I said, you can click this button. It's going to literally select everything. But for the sake of this example, I'm just going to do the ones that I have checked here. But you get the idea. I mean, you can use these filters, use the sorting to really dial in your kind of your criteria of which ones you'd want to launch. And then hop back into the dashboard and click Update List. So all this is going to do, it's going to pull in the targets that we just checked and put them automatically in the right rule. So what I can do now, if I want to see a short list of the products I'm working with, I find it pretty easy just to filter like that, and you can see how many targets per product and per match type. Here you can make any adjustments of keywords per campaign. So if you want to create a bunch of single keyword campaigns, you would want to potentially make that like a 1, and that would create 6 single keyword campaigns. All these other ones are going to get split. If you see like a 5 and a 2, that's because we've got 10 here. This one's 1, so it's 1. So it's pretty intuitive, I think. Now, when you are ready to create new campaigns, you do need to pay attention to the checkboxes. So what you can do, there's a notes field here. You could put like a value or maybe the date in that cell like that. And then when you click this, it resets your table. So kind of after you've gone down through and analyzed things, it resets your table. It asks you if you want to uncheck all of these. So I find it pretty easy just to say yes. And then you can use this filter that you've assigned to kind of organize the runs that you're going to do, because even though we're going to check all of these, we still have to run our sponsor products keywords independently of the ASINs. So it'll make sense here in a second. But basically, if any of these that have multiple keywords, if you did want to delete them, these are, you can edit this column. So I can just remove one. If it's like a term I just don't want to go after, you can see it updates this. Everything's kind of editable at this point. This also illustrates how this tool could be used as a standalone tool and just a more efficient input dashboard for the bulk campaign builder. So hopefully you can see how that could work, where you could just use this column, set up the rule fields manually here, then use this column to plug in your keyword list, set up your criteria for how many targets per campaign, and then you're off to the races. So anyway, once you've determined the ones that you want to create, you'll want to check on just the boxes over here. And then we're going to use, we're just worried about the red section right now. The purple section's for adding keywords to existing campaigns. So we'll do that next. But right now we're going to work on our keyword campaigns. So you'd come in here. Before I click this, you'd probably want to go over to the settings tab and just make sure your naming scheme is all set up how you want it. But I want to skip over that and just choose the keyword targeting. So we'll do that first. So I'm going to hit submit. All right, it's going to jump you over to the campaign builder, and you'll notice that it's building the campaigns, but just let that run. It'll take a minute or so to build them all out, but you can see down here it's populating the totals, and then when you're done, you're going to get a prompt. All right, so just hit OK, and now you're pretty much right where you know what to do. You're ready for updating your custom names, so you can go through that. I'm going to just go ahead and click that. Yes. All right, now I would have wanted to turn off the single keyword mode for that kind of run, but you get the idea. So anyway, we got our campaigns created. Now I'm going to create the final output file. All right, and if you get this error, it means that the campaign name you've got is going to violate one of the bulk operations validations, so you'll get an error back. So another reason why you'd want to turn off that single keyword campaign mode if you're going to build a lot of multi-keyword campaigns, but that's fine. I'll just proceed with it, and you can see we get our output file here. And yeah, pretty much it. If you've watched the bulk campaign creation video, you know you can just upload this, and all of those campaigns then will be good to go. And very similarly with the product targeting campaigns, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to choose the drop down here, and it'll create your ASIN targeting campaign. So I'm not going to do that one. It's the exact same process. All right, so now let me do an example for adding the targets to existing campaigns, and I'm going to do a few of these. So what you have to do, you have to basically assign campaign IDs and ad group IDs. And to help with that, there's a button here you can click that creates a lookup table. All right, so this table is going to help you sort and filter based on the ASIN and the match type. Now you do want to be careful. It's going to automatically filter depending on the row you're on in the dashboard. So you can at any time kind of clear and re-enable the filter to get an entire list. But the easiest way to manage this, I think, is to duplicate your tab and then have one open to your dashboard and then one open to that lookup table like this. Let's go ahead and do an example here with this ASIN. So let me search for it. I'm just going to copy that. And once you kind of have this matrix built, you won't have to do it each time. It's kind of a pain from the beginning though. All right, so you can see I've got phrase, I've got my ASIN, and these are only going to be enabled campaigns. So you've got to decide how many keywords per campaign you want, which is going to be right here. You know, this is a demo copy, so 300's absurd, but you know, you'd want to keep in check that value and make sure you want to keep adding more to those campaigns. But once you've kind of decided on the initial list, just copy the campaign ID and ad group ID columns independently because we got to put them both in the same cell. So I'm just going to copy the campaigns first. I double click so I'm active in the cell, hit Control V, that pastes them. And I'm going to do the same thing with the ad group. So do that. All right, so there's one. Now let me do one more here. All right, so one thing you can do is click in the row and then click on this lookup ID again, and it will give you a filtered list just for that ASIN and match type. All right, so that's pretty helpful. You can see here that's a phrase campaign for that product, and I'm just going to do the same thing. So in this case, because there's only one that I've got that I'm going to use, I can copy it like that. Control C, come over here, and I hit Control Shift V if I can. That keeps all the formatting. All right, so after you have your IDs assigned, before you set this parameter, go ahead and hit Calculate Totals. This is going to give you a preview based on the current active targets in these campaigns. So you can see I'm getting some messages here that the number of current targets is already over my limit. So because of that last sheet we were at, I saw it was like 300 or something like that. This one's 31, but the other one was 300. So that's kind of one thing as you build your map out, you're going to have to determine like what's your maximum number of keywords you're going to want to have. because the system is going to kind of keep track of it for you. So if I go back here and I change this to like 301, let's say, and then this one to something above 31. So let's say 35 for the sake of this demo. All right, I'm going to say 35. All right, now if I recalculate, we're going to get a different reporting here. So number of current targets is 30. So this basically says in this first campaign we're going to have, after we add these two targets, we're going to have 301 in this one, 301 in the bottom one, which will give us 0 remaining, and it just says 2 total added. That's what that kind of means. And if I had more campaigns, you'd have a similar kind of notes there that you could reference. All right, and then this one down here, number of current targets is 31. All right, so after we add this target, we'll be at 32, 0 left, 1 added. So that's kind of pretty self-explanatory. All right, now if I had one set of IDs here, all right, and I reran it, you're going to see 1 left right there. All right, that's because you need another campaign to really do what you want. So it's only going to add 1 in that case. So I'm going to back up to where we were because this is kind of what I wanted. All right, and I forgot one other thing. You do need to only check the boxes of the rules you want to run. So I'm going to click that to reset it, hit yes to uncheck all the rules, and then obviously the ones that have the data, that's the ones that you're going to want to run. So now I'm going to, instead of creating the new campaign option, I'm going to choose this one and hit submit. And then down here at the bottom, you'll see a new tab, campaign upload, that has in it all the data. So you can see the IDs, you can see the keywords. It actually skips over the bulk campaign builder and just sends you right to the final output file. So from there to upload it, you just export it, and then in your fbaexcel export files folder, upload that file. So pretty efficient once you kind of dial in these campaign IDs. And the next time you run it, if you update your list here, you can just quickly click this calculate totals, and it'll give you a notification here if you've got room left based on your maximum targets per campaign for this new set of targets. So it's kind of a cyclical process, but definitely a new tool. I can't promise you when you're watching this video if this kind of workflow has been improved upon, but I'll try to keep the training as updated as possible. Definitely reference the guide as well. We'll be adding some sections in there as well. But if you have any feedback on ways to make this simpler as you go through and use it, definitely reach out to support and let us know. Like I said, we've got a lot of ideas for this tool coming up, and we're going to be working on really continuously improving it. So anyway, guys, I hope this tool is effective in your business, and I will see you guys on the next training. Cheers.